On today's show, we explore the massive growth of ShawHomes.com, and we learn the specific strategies, proven processes, and systems that Clay Clark, Jonathan Kelly, and their team have used to grow Shaw Homes by an epic amount since the year of our Lord, 2016, and how together they've constructed the ultimate sales machine. On today's show, let me tell you the story that goes a little something like this. In the year 2016, a company by the name of Shaw Homes did just $300,000 of sales during the entire month of January 2016. However, during the year 2020, Shaw Homes did an incredible, mind-boggling, life-changing, and fabulous $11 million of sales, which is an epic growth of,
what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the
11 million
comma,
divided by 300,000. I'm a voice actor!
000
I'm a mathematician! It's so hard to focus when everyone's yelling.
divided by 300, comma, 000.
Oh, just cue the music. I'm fine now. I'm fine. Holy! All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've done the math. Shaw Homes has experienced an epic 36.66% growth.
Stop the music. That's a 36.6
Screw the facts.
times
Shut up
growth.
up there.
36.6 times they've grown, not 36.6%. Do it again.
Oh, so you want me to do it again now? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, on today's show, we teach the systems, the strategies, and the processes that America's most humble man and best business coach, Clay Clark, has taught Shaw Homes en route to growing the brand by 38 times the size. During January of 2016, they were selling $300,000 of homes in the entire month, and now they are selling $11 million of homes in the month of January. Yeah, baby!
We're going streaking! Yeah! No, sorry, we're going streaking through the quad and into the gymnasium. Come on, everybody! Come on, Snoop! Snoop-a-loop! Snoop! No, it's cool. I'm cool. Bring your green hat. Let's go.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrive Time Show.
3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, and yes. You are in for a 10-minute laser show, Thrive Nation. We are joined here today with Wes Carter, the attorney of choice for many, many successful companies, and his firm, Winters & King, that he's a part of, represents T.D. Jakes. They've represented Joyce Meyer. They've represented Pastor Craig Rochelle, some big names out there. And we're here with Oklahoma's largest home builder, Aaron Antis over there. So we got Aaron Antis over here in the corner.
Hello.
We got Wes Carter over here, rocking the mic. So we got an attorney, we got a marketing director, and then we have the new guy.
The new guy.
The new guy. Now, what we're talking about today is once you nail it, scale it. Unpacking the ultimate Shaw Homes sales machine. We're unpacking the ultimate Shaw Homes sales machine. So let's get right into it here. Aaron Antis, how did you and I first meet, and when did you and I first meet?
We met in 2016. There was a gentleman named Steve Currington that introduced us, and he introduced us because he said, hey, you know that one home building company who will remain nameless on this show
Yes.
that is just crushing it and just killing it in sales, and that is your arch nemesis? And I said, yeah, I know exactly who they are. He said, would you like to meet the guy who's been helping them with their sales and marketing? And by the way, he just basically doesn't work with them anymore. So you could potentially move in and start working with them. And I went, Yes, I would like to meet
And to
that guy.
demystify that real quick,
Yeah.
whenever I work with somebody, I have a relationship with somebody. So the relationship I have with Shaw Homes is a little bit unique, and I have a relationship with Aaron Antis. That's my point guy.
Yep.
But I know of Glenn Shaw, and I respect him.
Yep.
And I know of, and I'm getting to know Chuck Ramsey more.
Yep.
But I have a relationship with a guy.
Yeah.
And at the previous person, the guy I had a relationship with moved out of the day-to-day operations, which then the relationship was broken. So I don't keep a relationship with a company unless I have a contract. So
Yeah.
I decided to make myself a free agent. I did that. And so you and I met, and at that time, during January of that year, do you remember approximately how much sales you did in new home sales during January of the year before you and I met, approximately, or maybe
Yeah. It was less than $1 million.
less than $1 million
Yeah,
of
in
sales?
fact, I looked at it the other day, and I think it was $323,000 because I was doing this comparison just recently.
And just to be fair and safe, so the listeners know, in the world of home sales, for every home builder, the lowest month of the year is typically January. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a slow month.
Do you have seasonal parts of sales over there at Winters and King? I mean, do you find there's more legal stuff at the first of the year or at the end of the year, or is it pretty even all year?
The very end of the year, sometimes people are trying to get stuff done or started before
Yeah.
the end of the calendar year, but in our business, it stays fairly steady.
Okay, so fairly steady, but for you, it's very seasonal.
Yeah, a lot of realtors are sleeping all through January and
True.
February. They wake
Hibernation.
up in March, so it contributes to our world.
So, and then if you could share with the listeners, how much sales did you do this January? So this is January 2020.
Yep.
And in January of 2016, you did 300,000. How much sales did you do in this January of 2020?
12.8 million.
12.8 million. Now, Wes, if you can help me with the math on there, and I'll let you kind of look it up and use a calculator if you want. But we're going to go from 300,000 to 12 million. So if we went, 300,000 fits into $1 million roughly 3 times.
About
So it's 36 times more sales this January than last January.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, actually it'd be almost 38 because it was 12.8 million. So, yeah, about 38 times.
That's a boom. Okay, so now we talk about that is a boom. That deserves a boom. So I want to break down the 9 steps we had to take in order to do this together.
Yeah.
You did your part, I did mine.
Yep.
1, we had to have an optimized website.
Yep.
Why do we have to be top in Google? Why do you have to dominate the search engine results?
Apparently, people have replaced the word search with the word Google. Instead of I'm going to search for that, I'm going to
Yeah.
Google it. So it's a thing now.
Business Insider says that 90.8% of humans use Google to search for products and services. 90.8. So step 1 is getting in leads. Step 2, you had to have a no-brainer because people knock on the website. They're interested, but they don't fill out the form unless you're offering something beyond the norm. What's the hot offer that you make over at Shaw Homes?
Right now, if you are purchasing from us
Yep.
during this month,
Yep.
you will get $15,000 in free upgrades.
So step 1, you got the website that's optimized.
Yep.
2, you used your experience
Yep.
of knowing what would work and my experience knowing that we need a hot offer, and we came up with a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Step 3, you relentlessly advertise. According to the book, The Retargeting Playbook by Adam Burke, the average person has to see an ad 4.7 times per month before they convert. Advertisement. We've been pretty consistent with those ads.
Yep.
Do we turn them off?
Never.
We keep them on.
Always.
Okay, so we got the optimized website, the no-brainer ads. Now the leads come in. Now we have to have a script. You and I have worked on the scripts. You've been selling homes. Before I even met you, I think you had done like $700 million of homes or $800 million of homes.
Yep. I was about 750 when we met.
And you had those scripts. You already had them.
Yeah.
And I just hoped you simplified, but you already had those scripts.
Yeah, I think you definitely made them better, and I can be humble and say that.
Okay.
But, and you added some that I was missing.
So now you got the scripts. And now when someone fills out the form, we have to have a sales team that hits their key performance indicators.
Yep.
So now you've chosen to outsource the calls, and our team averages about 300 outbound calls per 8 hours. There's 2 people that
Yep.
each make 300 calls a day, relentlessly calling those leads to set appointments. Have you seen the appointments go up on the average since the calls have been going up?
Oh, for sure.
So we got this. So
lot.
step 1, optimized website. Step 2, no-brainer. Step 3, advertisements that work, and we keep them on. 4, the scripts. 5, the key performance indicator, managed salespeople. They're hitting their numbers. Step 6, it's the follow-up. Now, here's where it gets fun, and this is where we can introduce our new guest in a moment.
Oh, so good.
Follow-ups where you say, I know you know what to do, but are you doing it? So we put cameras up in the homes.
Yep.
call recording. And by the way, if you think it's weird, there's cameras at Target. Wes, have you seen the cameras at Target? There are cameras.
I have. There's cameras everywhere.
Cameras everywhere. So when you watch the person on the camera not following the system, you're forced to get to the fork in the road that says, does the person not know what to do? Or are they choosing not to do?
Is it my fault or your fault?
Yeah, there you go. And Aaron, to a fault, is probably the most gracious, kind guy that doesn't want to fire people. You want to keep them around.
I would like to.
And so we, upon further review, realized certain people know what to do, but they're choosing not to do it. Am I correct, Aaron?
Oh, yes. Those people don't work here anymore, but yes.
And so whenever you prune a tree, it creates room for new growth.
Mm-hmm.
When you fire somebody, it creates opportunities for somebody else.
Yeah.
When somebody chooses to throw away their opportunity, it creates another opportunity for somebody else.
True.
Enter in the man that was teaching my kids how to flip.
Yeah.
He's a gymnastics teacher and Oral Roberts University graduate, I believe. He served in the military.
Marine.
And my wife said, that guy's got a great energy. And he was a client. I worked with him with his tumbling business. And when he decided to exit the partnership and to do something else, to go from being a self-employed person to becoming an employee, I said to him, hey, why don't you call, and I gave him the numbers of 4 or 5 people that I knew that owned companies, and you were one of them.
Yep.
When you met him, when you met Colton, what did you see in him that said this guy would do well within the systems of Shaw Homes?
Well, first of all, he's a Marine, so he's used to, yes, sir, whatever you'd like me to do, sir. Hoorah. So he was all about that, and I know like military guys like to kind of follow the path, and you know they'll respond to the person in command, and so I saw that. I saw a ton of warmth and energy, and a person who genuinely cares about other human beings.
But you also saw a guy that had never done home sales,
never done it,
who was previously coaching cheerleading, tumbling.
Yes, he actually did a backflip shortly after I met him, and I was like, wow.
And how much sales did he do in the month of January? Because remember, in 2016, the whole company did $300,000 of sales. How much did Colton Cruz do in sales during the month of January?
If we're counting all contingencies, about $6 million.
What's a contingency?
So somebody who still has to sell their house first before we can start building the home. And then without contingencies, it's about $3.5 million.
So if you, without contingencies, people that are just free and clear, you make you pay these guys a 1.75% commission. Is that right, or 1.5?
1.77.
1.77. So if we do the math, 1.77% of $6 million, which would be the homes with contingencies, that means that he could have made $106,200 during the month of January.
Yes.
Is that real?
That's real.
That's real.
And then there are
he's excited over that. There's a huge smile on his face right now.
No, but there is he the top sales guy on the team, or at the bottom? Is he in the middle? Where does he fit into the team right now in terms of sales just this month?
I mean, well, this month he would be the top guy. And just so you know, he started in August, which is just a little over, it's 5 months ago is when he started. So he's really kind of brand new and still learning how to do this. But because we have a lot of good training and systems in place, he was able to just plug in and kind of skyrocket to the top with a great attitude. And he's the guy who follows it exactly the way that we tell him to do it. And first couple months, he kind of questioned some of that and was like, are you sure that's how? But I've got this great new idea of some other things we could do. And finally, one month I said, would you stop with the idea festival? I don't need new ideas. I already know what works. Just do this.
There it is.
And then he went,
was right, 100%.
And that's when he went, yes, sir.
Idea festival. Let's not do what works. You guys have been around almost 40 years. I've got new ideas, folks. Right. I mean, that's a little bit.
That was pretty much what was
That was
happening
it.
at the
Music
beginning.
and everything.
And so if we're going to praise, we have to kick him in the crotch too.
Yes.
To be fair and balanced.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we have a follow-up, step 6. Step 7, though, is a weekly sales meeting.
Yes.
That's the relentlessness, that weekly sales meeting. Step 8, you got to have sales tools like one sheets, like print pieces. People can see a path that walks people through the home buying process. There's a lot of visuals we've had to create together.
Yep.
John Kelly helped on a lot of that as well.
Huge help.
And then tracking. You got to actually track the numbers. Now, in a company where there are poorly designed systems, we interviewed the legendary Harvard business professor Clayton Christensen on this podcast before his recent death, unfortunately. And he talked about how in a company where there are not systems, it takes forever to train people, and they're expensive to train people. True. And so, Wes, I want to get your take on this. how often do you see a small business owner that maybe you're working with, you're guiding them from a legal perspective, and maybe you hear them fretting, worrying, lamenting that a key person or two, usually they go in twos, would be leaving, and that they're like, oh, what am I going to do? I mean, how often do you see where a company is super worried about the non-compete and the non-solicitation to the point where they know all of our sales are going out that door if that person leaves?
A lot. And I mean, we're not even talking about small business. I work with some small businesses that are on the other side of that, and national companies are coming after them because they know that one sales guy will take half to stay with them because it's all about relationships.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's not just the small business, it's the large business. This is like a universal principle that without having those processes and procedures in place, you're relying on that one person keeping them happy, and then what happens then? They've got you over a barrel. And so, if they decide to leave, you're either going to be pay more than you want to, or they're going to leave you in a lurch, or just all kinds of bad stuff happens.
So I want to make sure anybody watching this or listening to this gets this idea. When I build systems for my clients, they create freedom for both parties, not one party. So if at some point, if Colton says, you know what, I want to go back into the tumble game. I want to get back into the cheer world. I want to go back into the military. I want to buy a boat. I want to be out on the water exploring the Mediterranean. I have a new vision. My wife and I are moving to Alaska to live in one of your houses without paying rent. If he came in, you would be sad that he as a person would be leaving because you like him.
He's a great guy.
But you wouldn't care in terms of the business because it's like next.
Yeah.
Because he could teach anybody the system.
Yep.
So it creates freedom for him to leave if he needed to.
Yeah.
So he's not held hostage.
Oh, we got a group interview this week.
And you're not held hostage.
Right.
Somebody out there is thinking about coming to work for Shaw Homes right now. Or somebody's thinking about trying to build a system like you have now. Let's unpack this and you tell me the hardest parts for you. Was it hard to optimize the website with our help?
No.
Was it hard to create a no-brainer?
Nope.
Was it hard to manage the online ads?
Nope.
Was it hard to write the scripts?
Nope.
Was it hard to track the key performance indicators and get people on the phone?
Nope.
Was it hard to follow up every week?
Nope.
Was it hard to do weekly sales training?
Nope.
Was it hard to make sales tools that work?
No. It was fun.
Was it hard to track the numbers?
No.
So what's the hard part in growing a company by 38 times? What was the hard part? What is the hard part?
The hardest part is to humble yourself as an expert in your industry, which I considered myself an expert in our industry. I mean, obviously, having sold hundreds of millions of dollars prior to meeting you, I had definitely came with an ego of, I know what I'm doing. This guy can't tell me how to do my business because he's never worked in my industry before. And so what I quickly found out was, actually, he's got some really great ideas because he's worked with so many different types of businesses, so many different types of industries, that he brings a fresh perspective to an industry that I've been in all my life and couldn't see the things I couldn't see. And so I loved that about it. And I very quickly was looking at other clients you were working with, and I saw some people resistant to change, resistant to new ideas, who would falter and not do well. And then I watched others who were open to change and would be humble about looking at new perspectives. And I was watching massive growth with those other companies. So I also, like I mentioned at the beginning, you had been working with someone who was a major competitor to us, and I watched them come on the scene as a company that was brand new and explode onto the scene. And that's hard to do in our industry because it takes a lot of time typically to grow like that. And they had exploded onto the scene. So I was already ticked because I knew what you did with them. And I'm like, okay, I got to know what to do with our stuff.
And
So-
I want to make sure that we get this idea. There was Wes, do you remember watching the Dream Team?
Oh, yeah.
With the first Dream Team. And do you remember the story about what Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen did to Tony Kukoc? Do you remember the story, or did you ever hear that story?
I don't think I ever heard that story.
The owner of the general manager for the Bulls was going to bring on Kukoc to join the Bulls.
Yep.
And to get him, he was the best player in, I think, Croatia at the time.
Yep.
And so he decided to offer Scottie Pippen dramatically less money, and he was going to give that money, the remaining money, to Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and to Tony Kukoc. But the only person taking a pay cut was Scottie Pippen. And Scottie Pippen's like Michael Jordan's guy. And so Jordan was really mad about the thing. If you look it up it's worth watching on YouTube.
Okay.
And just type in Tony Kukoc destroyed by Michael Jordan. So Michael gets the guys in the locker room and he says, "Here's the deal, guys. I don't want Tony Kukoc. He's the top scorer in European basketball. I don't want him to touch the ball during the entire game, and I'm not going to stop until he cries because his parents are here." So and they're like, "What?" Because he had just signed on the Bulls, and Jordan was pissed. If you watch it, it's the craziest thing ever. It's like ravage. It's like wolves that are just like on like a stake. It's crazy. So Jordan gets on him, and he's not even worried about offense. He just will not let him touch the ball. It's deny ball, just on him. And Kukoc he can't even keep up. I mean, he's athletic, but he can't keep up. He's knocking the ball loose every time. He's batting the ball away. He's talking to him when he's out of bounds. He's following him off the court. Wild. Well, then Pippen switches to him, and they just keep doing this. Well, around the third quarter, this is the best player in Europe. Yeah. He kind of starts to cry, like he's like, and then Jordan keeps talking, saying horrible, crazy things.
He could trash talk. And
they said that it almost destroyed his career because he lost so much confidence. I think he had 0 points on something like 4 attempts. He never got, and Michael at the end of the game was like clapping in his face, and they won by like 50 points. And Jordan was still, I think they're up by 50. He calls a timeout to stop him. He just is like, wow. And I don't know how to explain that ferocity, but that's sort of like my mindset to growing a client. If I work with a client, I just want them to win, and I don't want anyone else to win because I want my client to win. And so we aggressively went down that path together for the past 3-4 years together. And I want to get Colton's take on this. Now, working in a system where you have a guy who's kinder than me, Aaron, who's built the systems, working with me, and there's kind of that intensity, there's that creativeness, that collaboration. You've now got all the tools, the systems, the follow-up, the no-brainer, the website. How hard has it been for you to learn the Shaw Homes sales system?
Not at all, actually. So, like you said, I came from teaching kids how to flip, and now I'm selling homes. And from day one, Aaron was on a video teaching me how to be my own CEO. So it was like how to basically run my own part of the company.
Yep.
And he was just giving me the tools to do everything I needed to do. And it's been fantastic. And so that was like a 2-week deal where I'm watching videos and learning firsthand, shadowing people. And then I get put out in the model home, and it's like there was no fear whatsoever because he covered everything.
Have you ever worked at a job where there are no systems?
Absolutely.
How's that?
Terrible. I
just think there's a big difference. I think people don't understand this. We talk about bad employees a lot because this is an entrepreneur show.
Yeah.
But, Wes, there are bad bosses. And I have certainly been one early in my career where I had nothing written down. Everything was like a spiritual epiphany. It was all just in my mind. It was just sort of all here. I'm sure, Aaron, you've never been there. But, I mean, talk to me about this, Wes. Do you see this? Is this an epidemic problem?
It's a lot. I mean, one of the things I always talk to people about, the people who can handle these kind of conversations, is, they're wanting to terminate an employee. This so-and-so, they're emotional.
We'll let them out.
And it's something we talk about on the show. First thing you do is look in the mirror. If the employee's not doing something, have you set expectations? Have you, shown them the tools they need to do that for you? And a lot of times, unless you've gone down this road and done these things, a lot of the problems you're facing with your staff are your own doing.
So true.
You're not putting the processes in place. You're not putting the procedures in place. They don't know what you expect from them, or you're a moving target. Every day you come with a new idea, a new system. We're going to change it this time, and they just can't keep up with all these wild things you're throwing on the wall to see what will stick.
I was pretty emotional this morning because Jocko Willink agreed to be on our podcast,
yep.
and the guy who started Square, and so I came into work today thinking. I didn't say this, of course. This is before my meta time, but I'm thinking and then we're going to open up conferences on other planets.
Yeah. And
then the aliens will be, and I had seriously, it was and then we'll disappear in a chariot of fire. I mean, we are just fired up.
We can coach Martians.
But then there's been days where Seth Godin recently, he's a great guy. By the way, Seth, if you're watching, you're a great guy. But I asked Seth to be in my new book, to be featured in there. And he has the right to say no. He said no. And it's you don't want to broadcast the emotions to the team. So I try to keep it kind of stoic or on the up and up.
Yeah.
But I'm not perfect at it, but that's the goal. We have time for one more tip from you, Aaron Antis, and for anybody looking to work at Shaw Homes right now, or anybody out there that wants to apply for you. What kind of person should apply to work at Shaw Homes? What kind of person What kind of person is Colton? What kind of person is going to make it here and do well in their first 5 months, and who, frankly, just should not apply?
Yeah, I would say the person who is got warmth and energy in
Yeah.
their personality, which is definitely, Colton has that in spades, and somebody who is willing to follow a system off a cliff,
Yep.
knowing that the company behind them already figured it out for them. We've done it a few thousand times. Like, we don't need somebody to tell us how to do it. We already know how it works. And so that kind of person is going to have incredible success like Colton has.
Yep.
And then somebody who really cares about other people.
Yep.
I mean, because Colton has that, like I said. And then the person who would not do well in
Not
our
do well.
company, that is going to be the person who has a new idea every day. And
bad Colton, the old
yeah.
Colton.
And they have a stone face. No matter what you say, you can crack a joke, and they just stare blankly at you like a zombie.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't do well, because people ultimately buy from people they like
Yes.
and trust.
Yes.
And so they have to like you, which means you have to smile from time to time.
Have you not found
be warm.
this is so cool? But when you guys have surveyed people who've bought houses from you and you follow up, and I know you guys do that a lot.
Yeah.
Do we not constantly hear that people they say, "Well, I really like the person I met." It's like, why did you
Yes.
decide to buy with Shaw Homes? And it's
All
like,
the time.
I read the reviews and I like the salesperson. I mean, don't you hear that a lot?
Yes, I hear that, and that they enjoyed our process a lot, because we actually make it fun to go look
Come on
at
now.
homes and buy a home. It shouldn't be a painful, arduous task like getting, like a root canal. It shouldn't feel like that. It should feel like you're at a carnival and you've got a guide taking you on it, and it's just a blasty blast.
And
as you would say.
and Tag Team is performing Whoop There It Is, while
Yeah.
Jim Gaffigan is serving ice cream cones. That's what kind of party we're talking about.
Yes.
Now,
Exactly.
Colton, what are you doing? This is my final question for you. What are you doing during a model home all day? Someone says, I'm thinking about working at Shaw Homes. What are you doing all day? How do you fill your time? Are you doing yoga? Are you polishing granite countertops? Are you testing the plumbing? What are you doing?
I'm not. No, I'm waiting for somebody to walk in while I'm not dealing with a client face to face.
Yep.
I'm making phone calls. I'm going back and working with all the clients that I've already scheduled model home tours with, or
How many calls a day?
75 calls a day.
Shunda. Oh, that's so good.
So, and whenever you're working with a client, there's a lot going on in the background that you have to get for them. If they're looking for a custom option, we got to send that in and get approvals for that. And so there's a lot of work on the inside, but got to get those calls in per day.
Yeah, networking with realtors.
That's the big one.
Yep.
So when I first came on, Aaron explained to me that it's like a rocket ship, and he was like, I want you to go to YouTube right now, and I want you to type in NASA rocket taking off. And so that's what I did. He's like, this is all the fuel that you're burning at the very beginning. But once you get through that fuel, then you're just on your cruise zone. No pun intended for my last name. But
Oh, wow.
You're just
So you did
cruising.
that. That's impressive.
I know, right?
I didn't
It just
say
kind of
cruise.
just kind of popped
Subconsciously,
out.
You wanted to say cruise. That's
Right,
amazing. Okay.
right. You're just
Continue.
cruising.
Continue on, cruise missile.
And now this is after you've dealt with realtors, and it's like, I've never even met you. I've talked to you on the phone, and you're sending me people, which gives me money. So I'm happy with it.
I think everybody out there, you say, what am I supposed to do as a result of this? Go through the checklist and ask yourself, do I have an optimized website? Do I have a no-brainer? Do I have ads that are on relentlessly, or do I turn them off when I get emotional? Do I have sales scripts that I actually use? Do I have key performance indicators I hold my people accountable for? Do I follow up, or do I abdicate? Do I have weekly sales training meetings? Do I have sales tools that make sense, or are they all in my head? And do I have tracking? And if you have those things in place, congratulations, you're Shaw Homes. And everybody out there, we want you to grow, except if you're in the home building business in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So if you're
And
out there
Oklahoma City.
and you're in
And
Tulsa,
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City, we hope that that you don't have suffer bodily harm. We hope you're okay. We just hope that we have like an emotional injury that's hard to put a finger on that causes you to want to just open up like a lemonade stand and just shut it all down.
Yeah, that's
Because
a
we
great
only work
idea.
with one person in each city, and we work with Shaw and now Oklahoma City and Tulsa. And we like to end each and every show with a boom. So, Colton, are you psychologically prepared to end with a boom?
I am so psychologically.
Wes, are you legally prepared to end with a boom?
I'm doing it.
Aaron, I mean, from a perspective of a guy who sold almost $1 billion of homes now, are you ready to do the whole $1 billion boom thing?
Oh, boom shakalaka.
Oh, here we go.
All
3,
right.
2, 1. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go now. Boom, boom. One time. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. I built them systems. Yes, I did. This is just how I live. Boom, boom. That's what I do. Boom, boom. Make business boom. I'm the humblest. On the humble list. I'm the humblest. I'm the humble list. I'm the humblest. I'm the humble list. Number one, I am the most humblest. Chose myself cause I'm at the peak of where my humble gets. Started from the bottom, but now I'm at the top. Listing all the things that my humble self bought. I bought chickens and trees, and rabbits and cats. I bought my wife a massage, or at the mall I could nap. I bought car insurance, so I could insure my car. Pondered that all week, so deep I'm bizarre. So ladies and gentlemen, I introduce myself. Number one business coach, helping to build wealth. So pale it's surreal, but so real I'm so pale. Causing jealousy from Kevin McHale.
And now, more from a man who's never been called beautiful. Your host, Clay Clark.
Hi, my name is Christina Nemes. I'm the owner and operator of Angels Touch Auto Body and Detailing in Bourne, Massachusetts. We have been working with Thrive and their coaching for, say, 8 to 9 months, and it took us about 6 months, 5 to 6 months to get on the top of Google, and with their help with the website and marketing, and the SEO and retargeting ads with Google, and it has been phenomenal. We just have light and day business coming in, phone calls coming in, walk-ins, referrals. It's just through the roof, and we couldn't be happier. At the moment, we are up 50% this year from the previous year, and not only is that part of our own hard work and diligence, but also with the help of Thrive and what they've done for us and getting us on the top of Google and, you know, all their knowledge and coaching. And yeah, so super grateful, super pumped to see what the future holds for all of us. Thank you.
My name is Elizabeth Walker. I'm the owner of Nook and Cranny Homekeeping. I first heard about Clay on the radio on 1170 KFAQ. I was just switching through the radio stations and I heard them talking and they were kind of funny, so I hung around a little bit. Clay's team has impacted my amount of internet leads through Google. We have skyrocketed our reviews and we just have people calling us almost every single day saying they found us on Google. So it's definitely broadened our horizons and our clientele, but we also have people that find us in other avenues, and I always direct them to our Google reviews. The typical interaction during our weekly meetings is fun, it is accountability, it's an hour of hard discussions and a lot of learning. We try to laugh. I always share concerns I had during the week. The team always asks me what I need help with, and then they help put me back on track where I need to be. Every business owner needs Clay Clark and his team because they put a path out in front of you, a proven system of success, and then they coach you along the way. They don't do it for you. They don't hold your hand. They just stand right beside you. They cheer you on. They share with you what you need to hear, whether it's good or it's bad or it's what you want to hear or it's what you don't want to hear. Every business owner needs that accountability next to them, that proven person next to them that can keep them going. Most people think that they don't need a business or marketing consultant because human nature tends to say we can do it all, and sometimes we believe that, or maybe people are prideful and they don't want to ask for help, or I'm not really sure. I believe that one of the smartest things I've ever done in my whole life, definitely in my business, is hiring Clay Clark and his team. Somebody is missing out on years and years and years of experience if they don't hire them. You can either make mistakes in your business because you don't have the experience, so you just go out there and you make mistakes. Or you can have somebody next to you that has been there, they've done that, and they can give you a heads up. You're going in the wrong direction. Or they can give you just that wise advice that says, maybe you should go in this direction. That's what they're missing out on. They're missing out on years of experience that they have not gleaned themselves.
Could you share the name of your company, a little bit more about what you guys do at Living Water Irrigation, where the name comes from?
Absolutely, positively. So Living Water Irrigation, the most important part of that to me is John 7:38. So it's mentioned in the gospel a number of times, where the living water, but our specific scripture that we drew our name from is John 7:38. It says, "Whoever believes in me, rivers of living water will flow through him." We have a very distinct vision as a company on who we are and what we want to do. And I believe that I was put here to go make some money to give it away.
How long has this particular business been around?
We've been around just 2 years, sir.
2 years. And you guys, we first met. How did we first meet?
So it would have been October or November of 17.
October or November of 17.
Yes, sir.
And in terms of your growth as a company, how much have you grown this year?
So this year we're up 450% year over year.
So now that you're implementing this program, you're getting more calls, right? Are you getting more calls?
Absolutely.
Sales are going up. You're gathering reviews from your real customers, adding content to the website, adding a gallery of work.
So I'm going to actually take a minute and make you really uncomfortable, Clay.
Nice. I don't think I want this to happen.
So, because I know how humble you are, and I know you don't want to hear this kind of stuff.
It's only my paleness that keeps me humble.
So when we started with y'all, it was awesome. We had a little company, just me and one dude and one little van.
Yeah.
And 17 was great. I ate more than ramen noodles, but not much more.
Right.
18 was really good. We started to implement the systems, got the boom book, went to a couple conferences, and said, okay, I'm going to buy in. I'm going to sell out. We went to the coaching, got coached by Marshall and Victoria, and started to implement, as opposed to just listen, to actually be doers. It's in James. It says don't just be hearers of the word, but be doers as well. And so we implemented scripts. We implemented systems. We implemented checklist. We implemented a pro forma for quoting and all these things that you talk about.
Yeah.
And so just as a real person, and I'm real, I promise you, there's a bunch of Josh Wilsons out there.
Yeah.
Like I'm a famous baseball player and football player.
Oh, wow.
And a gospel singer.
Oh, wow.
But this Josh Wilson just digs ditches for a living. But I just want to say thank you. Standing here for all the systems. I encourage everybody out there, go pick up Start Here. Go pick up the Boom Book. The stuff you hear on this show, it actually sincerely works. It's not just some nonsensical guy sitting in an awesome man cave who's bored so he wants to record a show. And then from there, here's another super duper move for you. Schedule your day.
Oh, wait a second. That right there is a hot tip.
Holy cow.
Schedule your day.
So I was listening just a few months ago, and I was running all over the Tulsa metro area, from Glenpool to Owasso to Broken Arrow, back to Owasso to Jinx to Midtown. And I'm like, man, why am I getting nothing done?
Why am I getting nothing done?
Well, your issue is that you're running these places. You got to drive.
Why am I talking using a megaphone? Back to you.
Well, obviously, I wouldn't have this belly if I was running, Jonathan.
Okay.
So my wife says to me, hey, how was your day, honey? Oh, I worked all day. I did all these things. And I'm like, wait, I have nothing to show that I did anything. So super move number one, you've said it 17,000 times.
Yeah.
Whatever gets scheduled gets done. So now my day is scheduled.
Come on now.
So if it's not on my schedule, nope, doesn't happen.
Listen here. Here's a little secret. You can become successful. You have the tools needed to start and grow a successful company.
But you've got to implement the best practice systems. You have to implement the proven systems, checklists, and processes that have been shown to work time and time again.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.